Any discussion? Ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries 5-1. We've already handled item number 2. We'll go on to item number 3, which is the fire program.
We had hoped, we put this on the agenda because we were in hope that we would have some more information or a little additional information for you. And if you paid attention during the fire chief program, he talked to Buddy Houghton working on some grants. We were trying to put some grants together, we just don't have enough information yet. But what we intend on doing is applying for 2 different grants. One is a building improvement grant where they want to put some concrete around the building to create more of an apron when they have the trucks. Come and work on the fires, and the second one would be a training equipment grant, which would provide additional fire hydrants on the site. I think there's a propane tank training device where they could put out propane fires, things like that. So you can see those are the splits. Buddy Hyde and I have talked. We would be further along, but I think Lee Williams is in Alaska, and I think Dion's been out of town, so we haven't been able to finish this up. So we're gonna bring this back to you probably the next meeting, but we want to let you know we're working on these things. Okay,
Not at the work session.
not at the work session.
Yes, please, no. God, no.
No?
27 items on the work session agenda.
Item number 4.
In an effort to not have to bid out every time that we purchase sulfate, liquid alum for the water treatment plant, we sat down and solicited bids for an annual price. We received 4 prices. And this is by wet pound, and please don't ask me exactly how a wet pound is measured, but we received 4 sealed bids, the lowest of which was a price of 6.8 cents per wet pound from Superb Solutions. Jennifer and Ed Harris opened the bids, and he's asking me to receive authorization to award an annual contract, and it would expire June 30th with Superb Solutions in the amount of 6.8 cents per wet pound.
So moved.
Mr. Nash moves. May I have a second? Mr. Miller seconds. Any discussion?
It's in the budget, right?
That's what I was asking. How far, and I know it's gonna be hard to figure it out, but does this number come in cheaper than what we've been buying it for? Asking
I gotta
what
find
Chris
out.
just said, is it within a budget, or, I mean,
I don't know. I'd have to
mean,
find out.
obviously it's a low
If I
bid,
need an
so-
appropriation, I have to come back. and
agreed, but I was just seeing if it's cheaper because we're doing it for a year term instead of just going out and buying
I'd
it
have to,
when we need it.
I'd have to ask.
How much-
Look at what we've been paying.
How much?
But I think it's been very
Yeah.
variable, so we wanted to have it leveled off, plus it saves Ed from having to go out and get bids every,
It's a big difference in some of the prices too.
Why do we have to get bids on that? We don't do it for all chemicals at the water plant, do we?
Pardon?
We don't do it for all chemicals at the water plant, do we? Really?
I mean, Ed said he spent a lot of his time.
it's been a lot of time doing procurement. This is one way to kind of reduce the amount of
Yeah.
time. We try to do an annual.
You know what we spent last year on?
But this is the first time we've done this.
No.
We never have done a sealed bid. It's just Ed calling around, getting 3
Can
quotes,
you-
getting 3 quotes, getting 3 quotes.
Can you get an answer from Ed just to see what we had been paying per pound?
Sure.
And then what average we spend per year?
Any other discussion? Mr. Nash has moved. Mr. Miller has properly seconded to award this contract to Superb Solutions. Ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Aye.
This motion carries 6-0. Item number 5 is a resolution for Alan C. Perkinson.
This is a weird one. The post commander sent us documentation letting us know that not only the town, but the Department of Aviation have misnamed the namesake, or misnamed the airport that is named after Alan C. Perkinson. We've been calling it Alan C. Perkinson, but he has provided documentation that Mr. Perkinson spelled his name with an A and not an E. Our licensure and all other documents that the state has and we have all say Allen, A-L-L-E-N. In order for us to change the license with the state, we have to have a resolution formally changing the name. We're not really changing the name, we're just changing the spelling of his first name.
I'd ask for a motion to approve and to approve my signature on this document. Mr. Miller moves. May I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. Any other discussion? ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries 6-0. Next item is surplus items.
With
The two
one
places.
item, I think, I don't see it in here, but I think, you handled the hoses for the fire department, so that's fine. The second, series of, surplus requests is for 3 vehicles. One is a retired van, one of the, buses from, Babs, and 2 are wrecked police cars. We've scavenged all the parts for the most part of them, but we need to, declare them surplus so we can carry them over to ABC.
You heard the manager's request. Is there a motion?
Move to approve of 3 vehicles.
Second?
Second.
Page second. Is there any other discussion? Ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Williams.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 6-0.
Night out.
Number 7 is National Night Out.
I'll give the podium to the chief for a minute.
Good evening, Chief Murphy. How are you, sir?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. Clerk, to put this appearance on the screen, I see.
Yes.
I'm coming to you to ask for a waiver of the meals taxes and the noise ordinance. On August 2nd, we'll be having the National Night Out here in the basketball courts between Oak and Harris Street. Last year was our first year, all the law enforcement agencies in the county, as well as fire departments and rescue squad, and state police. There was a large crowd. We did it at Hooper Park and Crew. We had a good turnout. There was a lot of people there. We had bouncy houses, rock climbing walls, petting zoos, all kinds of music and food for everybody. And it's a good thing for the community, and I believe Blackstone will be even bigger this year. We rotate. Last year was Crew, this year's Blackstone. Next year's possibly Burkeville we're looking at. So it would be from 4 o'clock till 8 p.m. on August 2nd. And a rain date of October the 4th for some reason. I don't know why they put it so far out. But I would ask for you to waive the meals tax and the noise ordinance.
What's the purpose of the meals tax?
They have like snow cone vendors, ice cream vendors.
Gotcha.
Not a whole lot, but.
I would add, it may or may not be necessary, but you're covering your bases by waiving it. But I think nonprofits, we've learned, do have 4 times a year that they can do things for a nonprofit event. People that do stews for the Rotary Club or stuff like that. But I would recommend doing a motion as Sam's asking, so you cover your bases. But I think the code already takes care of it.
I'll make a motion that we waive the noise ordinance and the meals tax for the night out. Second.
Mr. Miller has moved. Mr. Allman is second. Is there any discussion? May I have a voice vote? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries 5-0-1.
The reason I have to abstain is I was asked to submit a bid.
Thank you.
You missed the contact.
New,
That wasn't me. That was a shame.
new business number 8 is a Army resolution. Mr. Manager?
This is something that came out of our luncheon with USDA folks. We are in the process of asking them potentially for loan money. This is a loan, low interest, but it is potentially could be a 40-year note, which would keep your payments down. And it costs more, but it keeps your payments down. But we are covering all of our bases today to try to find money, and we are asking that you adopt this USDA resolution, which would allow us to actually make application to
40 years, we would be replacing the stove 4 times in there by the time we pay for that.
There's no prepayment penalty. And the interest rate that they've quoted me would likely be half of what we were looking at.
How much money are we talking about? Where's that now? Is that in here?
It would be as much as, it's not in the because I don't have those estimates of it. It's gonna be $700,000.
That's our shortfall in the project. Yeah, to do the kitchen and the inside work is 400 and something.
No, I think 700 is gonna get us close, and then you gotta
That
decide whether you wanna do the
includes the
outside or not.
The 700 includes the exterior or doesn't?
I don't think it includes it.
I thought you had said 400 to do the inside, 700 to do the
I don't think it's gonna do it, but let's get some estimates before we make estimations and conjecture, but you're gonna have to find some cash to finish it up. And I'll bring you options, this is just one of them.
This is the worst case scenario.
all run.
I move that we, allow our town manager to sign this agreement.
It's a resolution,
Resolution, adopt the resolution.
not an application yet, it's just a resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Nash has moved and, Mr. Almond is second. Is there any discussion? Ask for a roll call, a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
I
carries.
do wanna correct, I think I did tell you guys it was $400, $400,000 for the inside, and that the 7 would do the outside. I think that's correct. I apologize. I think you are correct.
That motion carries 6-0, and while we're on the subject, before we move along, I appreciate you inviting me to that lunch, and I wanna commend you and Chastity for your hospitality. The people from USDA, mentioned to me several times, as in 3 or more, that they enjoyed, they weren't used to this, and, I think y'all made a tremendous impression for the town of Blackstone.
They're good partners. Yeah.
So, job well done, and please, tell Chastity I was very pleased with the job she did. Item number 9 is CD rates, Mr. Manager.
On July 2nd, 2024, town staff, being me and Jackie and Brittany in the back row, transferred $2,784,484.15 into a money market fund with the Virginia Municipal League VACO Finance Program. That product is currently yielding, and at the time of the writing it was yielding, it is variable now, but it was 5.4%. And it had been previously placed at a private lending institution at a significantly lower rate. In an effort to plan for future borrowing needs, it was determined that a CD for 3 months may allow for reduced rate for permanent place or lines of credit. Again, we're talking about the Armory. Citizens Bank had that money in a money market account, and it had been as much as $4 million before we spent money down on the Armory project. They had been paying, tremendously lower interest rates. So we made the move. I think Taylor has made an offer to us, and I'm fine with it. I think I've talked to the mayor and someone with finance committee. I think the mayor may have talked to the finance committee about, in an effort to keep more of the money or a portion of that money back into the town of Blackstone, offering us a CD at 4.5% for $500,000 for 3 months. It's less than the money market product, but it is fixed. But by doing that, if we need to go and borrow money and we need to have a line of credit, we can secure it with that CD, and the rate will be lower. The mayor had talked to the bank president. I've got the rate sitting here, that he's agreed, as I understand, to a percent
Yes.
over.
Yes. And guaranteed me that the town's principal would never be in jeopardy.
Right now, we have a line of credit at Benchmark, and we're paying 6.12% on outstanding principal. And that's gonna reset in the month of August. And based on what we saw on the website today, it's 6.52%. And Benchmark's CD rates were appreciably lower than what Citizens was offering. But in an effort to prepare ourselves for the eventuality of borrowing money, I think we can find, you had deal with one option, I think we can find a second option, which would be 1% over the interest rate on a secured CD.
5.5.
5.5, there you go. So I think this is another option, and I would certainly support taking $500,000 back in an effort so that we can borrow monies in the future on a line of credit to finish the Armory specifically, and potentially for other things. Take 500,000 of that 2.784484.15, which is currently drawing at least 5.4%. I can check the yield today, see if that's changed, and put 500 back in a CD to check Benchmark at Citizens Bank, and I think it'll allow us to use that as security for a line of credit.
You've heard the manager's request. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve, town manager, make this switch.
Mr. Almond moves. Is there a second?
Second.
Ms. Williams, second. Is there any discussion? Ask for a roll call vote. beginning with Ms. Williams.
Aye.
Alright,
Motion carries 6-0. We're committee referrals. I'm gonna refer Bond Secure's performance issues to Mr. Jake Allman and his, health and ordinance. Do you have any other referrals that you'd like me to make?
Mr. Thomas's, banner too, right?
Yes, and the banner for Mr. Thomas. Thank you, Mr. Cormier. I have a few minutes, a few more, in the mayor's minute, I have 4 or 5 issues I'd like to address. The first is, Mr. Page corrected me tonight, and I think he's correct, that, our charter has not been updated or looked into since 1989. There's several items in the charter that I think need to be updated and or omitted. So I'm gonna ask council to create a charter committee, and I'd like Mr. Allman to chair it. And I would like Council President Nash to be on the committee, and Mr. Page. And this committee would do the research and the groundwork for changing our charter. I had a very nice conversation with our state senator, Mrs. Tammy Mulchi, and she's very interested in assisting us. And she'd like to have this information within a month or two, so that's why I'm asking for the committee. And as was alluded to earlier, our delegate is out of the continental United States, and when he comes back, I'm gonna involve him too. But I'm asking for a motion to create this committee, with the members being Mr. Allman, President Nash, and Mr. Page.
You asked others, because I don't have to be on there, you asked everybody else there, if they want.
I told you I don't wanna be on it.
Okay, I
I
just wanna make sure that.
don't wanna be on it.
I motion that we start the charter committee.
Ms. Williams has moved, is there a second? And Mr. Miller has seconded, is there any discussion?
Is there a deadline for this settlement on this charter?
No, it's just that when they go in, she wants plenty of time.
Who's
to-
she? I'm sorry. Ms. Mulch?
Senator Tammy Mulchi.
So how long are you talking about?
Yeah, that's why I'm asking.
If we can get it to her in a couple months. I don't think it's gonna take long if the committee can get together.
I think the idea would get past the next general session in January, yeah,
yes.
January.
And she'd like to have it in plenty of time, so. I told her that I would do my best, and, I have a motion and a second. I ask for a roll call vote, beginning with Ms. Williams.
Aye.
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 That motion carries 6-0. I am delighted to report that by our next council meeting, we will have new microphone equipment, and we will have a solution to having our attorney having to drive here in person. I've been informed that we'll have the capability for you to interrupt and to, which is solely needed. But anyway, I'm excited about that. I've been pushing for it, and I've been told by the August council meeting, we'll be online with that. My last item is, I want to take a moment to commend all those that were involved with the fireworks at Fort Barfoot. I have volunteered for many events like this, and I'm uniquely qualified to appreciate what they did. I had a big hand in the first fireworks out there. Takes a lot of work and a lot of scrambling. Mr. Page, I know you were heavily involved with that, and I thank you. I think it's very successful, and I think it was a good investment on part of the town.
We appreciate the town's help.
That is all I have. You have the,
Philip too, by the way.
I beg your pardon?
Philip helped a lot too.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
and Chief Murphy.
Can I
They
add
know.
something to
Tony
the
May.
minutes?
Yes, sir.
Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
President? I would just like to commend the Juneteenth
Yes.
committee also, because they
Yes.
did an excellent job. I
Yes.
went there in the afternoon.
Yeah, it was hot as a
It was hot,
firecracker.
and that was a really good,
But it was well done,
success
and,
also.
I think, I heard that some people might have thought we had less attendance, but I gotta tell you something. It was a good event if you brought all those people out in that heat, cause it was brutal.
hot.
And I made a mistake, I had 2 opportunities to speak, and I botched both of them. It's not my deal to speak in public. But I went with my council costume. My wife calls my coat and tie my council costume, and I like to dyed. And praise the Lord, Chastity had a extra committee shirt that I wore when I came back to present the awards to the two gentlemen that afternoon. So boy, it was hot. But yeah, thank you. I'm tired. I forgot all about that. Great job. Members of council, you have in your package the police chief's report. Do you have any questions for Chief Murphy? I don't hear any. Great job, Chief. Now is the second opportunity for visitors to address council or the mayor. Would anybody like to come forward? Very well.
I would actually.
Okay. Good to see you, Mrs. Mitchell. I'm violating council's policy, but just state your name only.
Diana Mitchell.
Hold it down here so everybody can hear you.
That's really important. Diana Mitchell.
Good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too. Wow. I was absolutely horrified just a few minutes ago watching what you did to the poor Arms family. That sucks. It's bad. I mean, I hope you understand that a lot of people have watched that come across in the newspaper, and the lack of commitment by the town of Blackstone, I mean, that sticks. It's not good at all. I just want you to know it was already being discussed, and it wasn't good. And now it's going to be even worse. And I'm so saddened by that, because I certainly don't feel a great amount of confidence right now in coming forward and asking for help. I don't think I would get it, or that I would feel comfortable doing so, because even if you did commit to it, what would stop you from pulling that commitment at a later date? I wonder if you think about people trusting your word. I wonder if you do, because a lot of people don't trust your word right now. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you.
Members of council, you have in your package the informational items. Are there any questions or comments?
Was that the end of
No, would you like to speak? Please come forward.
Deborah Damon, 1 year Blackstone resident. After all my wonderful kudos that I gave you, I remember the first time I spoke to you at this meeting was about the ditch issue. So we're talking pretty much a year ago. I didn't understand half of it because I was totally new. I've done a little bit of research. I've read the newspaper. I've talked to some of you. The great thing about our democracy is that we get to vote you into position. The bad thing about our democracy is that apparently when somebody new comes on board, they can say, well, we don't like what the other person did before us, and so we're going to change it. And to use her word, that sucks. Because if a board makes a decision that is not popular, but is not illegal, and the funds have been set aside for it long time ago, there's a lot of people that may disagree with that decision. But if it isn't illegal, to have the new board come in and then say, well, it was a bad decision, therefore we are not doing it. Exactly, I'm reiterating what she just said. What happened tonight just doesn't look good. I admire somebody who has a position and sticks to their position and lets us know what that position is. But apparently this has been going on well before I was ever here, and I would hate to see that it goes on for another year or two because the cost is going up and up. I do know that if you don't like the policy, you can change things going forward. So if you don't want to do this, because then the next person's going to come and want to do it, and the next person's going to come and want to do it, you can say right now today, this is our position. We do not want to do this. But because this was said, this was promised, this was voted, this was legal, we're going to do it. But don't anybody else come and ask, because we are making this policy right now going forward, that's not gonna happen again. So you have more recourse besides just sitting here and saying 3 for, 3 against. So please do think about that.
Thank you so much.
The next request, I think, is
I just want to know if it's gonna be a problem, cause I assume that it belongs to the town. I just don't want to be a problem later on.
If the ditch in their backyard belongs to the town.
you take wet Fairlawn, look around, we have a sewer line, now that may be one difference than perhaps others. There is a sewer line, a trunk sewer line that parallels that creek or ditch or whatever it is, but that is not a town ditch.
Interesting. So the question remains, then what can you do about it if it does happen? Cause I'll take preventative recourse. So
If everybody else is gonna do that, I guess, I don't know. But we'll find out, it's up to council to make decisions and appropriate money. But at this point, it's on your property.
but I can fill that ditch in, and that'd be on top of a town. Cause you gotta have access
You can do
to it.
whatever you wanna do, but whether it stays in there is a whole different thing, because you can't just block it.
That's what I thought. Cause you have to have access to it, and so therefore I'm just trying to find out what is gonna be a problem in the future. Cause I'd rather it not be. So
It is your ditch, and at this point, it's your responsibility as council to do.
I don't own the sewer line in the ditch.
You own that, no, you own the property that sewer line with. We have a sewer easement, which allows us to use the property that was signed many, many years ago. It's a fairly old section of town, and you actually own the property the sewer line is on too. But there is an easement.
But I got a boss about what I can do with it.
What?
I got a boss about what I can do with it. Cause I can't build on top of the sewer line. I don't want to, but I can't.
No, you can't. But you
So.
can connect to it. You can't build in within the, in 20-foot, 10-foot, each side of the same line.
So my question is this gonna be a problem in the future? Since I'm here before I build.
I don't think we're gonna speculate tonight. You know, if there's something that council needs to address down the road, we'd encourage you to do so then.
This is gonna be a dangerous.
Anyone else like to come and speak? I'm gonna continue this meeting till Wednesday, August the 7th at 6 p.m. This meeting is concluded.
Jim.